all I'm going to say.
And, you know, I think about it often, but I always have this thought of, like me personally, and it wasn't physical, and it wasn't horrible. Like, he was emotionally abusive, but it was not nearly as bad as these two cases or, like, what most people go through.
I think most people go through the emotional stuff.
Yeah, but I always have these thoughts, and I'm like, if I had never, and I'm like, even if I had left him earlier, I wouldn't be where I was today, because if I had left him and we hadn't moved to a new city together, like, I wouldn't be where I was today. Like, I'm weirdly, quote unquote, thankful for everything because, but when I think too, I'm going to get deep for a second. When we first started dating, and I know your fashion choices change as you get older and whatever, but like when I met him, I was like goofy and would wear like green chucks with pink shoelaces and tie-dye shirts. And he like changed everything about me. Like, oh, why don't we get you brown shoes that are kind of, why don't we put you in this? Stop shopping here. Let's go here to shop. You shouldn't shop at that. Like, slowly started, and then I was like, okay, like, yeah, I guess these clothes look, but it, like, he slowly took away my individuality. Yeah. And that's how they get you.
Yeah, they truly do get you that way.
Okay. So I said she stayed with him for 2 more years. The abuse just continued to grow. He was beating her, strangling her. Like, it was just horrible abuse. Then one night, she said he beat her so bad, she knew she was going to die. He beat her for 5 hours straight.
Oh, my God.
Wailed on her for 5 hours.
Oh.
Then he held a knife to her throat, threatening to kill her, punched her, kicked her, strangled her. She said the only reason it stopped and she thinks she's alive is because he got tired and he fell asleep. Like, he literally got exhausted from beating her and took a nap. Lovern knew, literally she knew in this moment that if he hadn't gotten tired, he would have beat her to death. She knew she needed help. She crawled out of bed while he was sleeping. She took a cab to the ER while he slept. Alone in the ER, she said she hit her breaking point, thinking to herself, I could have died, and this is a quote from an interview, I could have died in that apartment and no one would have known, because I don't have contact with any of my family or friends. I was completely isolated. And she's right, he completely isolated her.
Yeah. No, that's very upsetting.
You're so cute and empathetic.
Thank God for nurses.
After leaving the hospital, she went to her apartment and had the locks changed, and she didn't actually hear from the man for 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Until he finally called, asking for forgiveness. But she was super strong and said, nope, we're done for good. But of course, he did not like this. A few nights after this call, he tried to break into her apartment, and she said she remembered, she could hear him literally he was trying to break open her front door with a crowbar, and she was leaning against the front door. She could feel his body pressing against the door. She's on the other side of the door. She grabbed her, of course, this is the 90s or early 2000s, she grabbed her house phone, but he had preemptively cut the wire. But she had...
That's so scary.
Yes. But what's amazing in this, it's sad because she had to think ahead to this, but she actually had a prepaid phone in her purse for emergencies in case anything happened.
Whoa. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. She, thought ahead, which is, you shouldn't have to do. But the fact that she did that is incredible.
Yeah. She thought to have a backup.
Yeah. So she reaches into her purse. She pulls out this prepaid phone. She starts to call 911, and he can hear at this, she's talking to someone, and he's right on the other side of the door, so he hears her. She knows he hears. He takes off running. So he goes away. The cops don't catch him. They don't do anything. He starts stalking her. And he, following her, he would show up random places. He would leave derogatory notes on her car. The only example she gave that I found in the interviews, one said, quote, anybody who fucks Lovern knows that I had her first. They are getting leftovers. He would just leave these notes on her car all the time.
People are never leftovers. Ever.
Clap emoji in between every single word. She got a restraining order, and this is kind of amazing because this never happens, I feel like. He finally left her alone, which is not always how it ends, but she got a restraining order, and he finally left her the fuck alone. She still waited a while, though. Once she was sure he was gone. Okay, but I'm going to say, so she finally told one friend about the abuse, but this was 2 years after. So she still was, I can just imagine this poor woman. She waited 2 years. It wasn't until she didn't hear from him for 2 years that she finally knew he was going to leave her alone. So she was alone.
Yeah.
2 years after, she told a friend, and the friend told her, you have to tell your mom. She was terrified, but she knew that her friend was right. She was still scared that she would be judged or shamed. But she finally told her mom, and they had this whole long conversation and talked about rebuilding their relationship. And her, extended family knew about, had heard, I don't know if it was from her mom or whatever, but they welcomed her back without question. They never talked about the abuse. They never asked her. They were just come to Thanksgiving.
We love you.
Yeah. without question. That all the things that her abuser told her would not happen.
Yeah. He was just making it up.
And she was, fucking understandably, was a mess for years. She said it took her years to be able to look men in the eye again. Especially because you remember, if she was standing too close to a man, he beat her. So she lost the ability to look men in the eye. Like, it took her years.
She wanted to distance herself from men because of the abuse. But then it just was something that she had made a habit out of.
So she finally started to get back to her old social butterfly self. Mm-hmm. And in 2010, she actually joined a pageant and she won Miss New England Ethnic World.
Oh my gosh.
I know. And she used her reign to talk about her story, like whatever the year or 2 years or whatever that you're like,
you're
holding
the
crown. Yeah. Mm-hmm. She publicly told her story. She, like, everywhere she would talk about her abuse. When her reign ended in 2011, she started Love Life Now, which is that other website, with her personal savings. They're a nonprofit promoting year-round awareness against domestic violence, and this is what their website says in the About Me.
Okay.
Year-round awareness against domestic violence, and they're working to build the gap between shelters and the communities they serve. So they go out. They've now spanned across multiple cities through events. They raise money for local shelters. The company gives back 80% of what they bring in to shelters overall. Oh, wow. And you think the other 20% has got to be to pay people who are working there because they're a total nonprofit. They do a lot of random events. They do fundraising stuff. They do, have you ever heard of like the high-heeled walk where they get like men to put high heel? They do, she sets up stuff like that. They just do all these fundraising. Fun facts. So there's this cool article where a journalist kind of asked her different questions than you see. Yeah. And at the end, he asked her, like, what's something about you no one knows? And she said, I can burp on command.
Oh my God, Caitlin.
So fun. I had to put that in there. So fun fact, she can burp on command.
You might need to call her and take a lesson.
But she's just, I thought about emailing her and I might, but she's just this badass woman and who went through years of being strangled and beat, and then she created this organization, and she is out there busting her ass in her community every fucking day to help people who went through what she went through.
That's amazing.
I know. She's so inspiring. And for anyone out there, I know it's none of you because you guys are all saints and you're the best people, but people you fucking see on Facebook, all the assholes out there saying, and I'm like, this is going back to like the Cosby and the R. Kelly, why didn't you come forward sooner? Why not talk about it sooner? It is not fucking easy.
No.
I went through a 50th of a fraction of what these women went through, and I want to cry talking about it. Like, it's not easy to talk about.
No.
It's just not easy.
And sometimes when you think about what could happen if you said something and what it would cost as far as lawyers, what it would mean to sit in the courtroom and talk, what it would mean for everyone to know what happened. Like, sometimes you think to yourself, you know what? That's not worth it right now. And then when you're 10 years older, you think, you know what? This is the last year that this is, what's that called? The statute of limitation? The last year for statute of limitation feels worth it now. I'm ready. Like, I'm ready to go kick ass. And so
even 30 years later. Yeah. Okay, do you want some good news?
Yeah, let's move on.
I have an update on the Fairbanks 4.
Oh my God, okay.
And
can you briefly, and in a little elevator speech, describe that in case people didn't hear that episode?
Okay, so Fairbanks 4 is the case I did for my hometown, Fairbanks, Alaska.
A few episodes ago. You can scroll down and look for it on
it was our
feed.
Thanksgiving episode. We did our hometown cases.
Yeah, that's right.
So Fairbanks 4, it was 4 native. They're men now, but they were teenagers when it happened. There was a white teenager who was beat to death in Fairbanks in the 90s. And long story short, racist cops went out and they just found 4 native kids who weren't even together the night that this happened. And they were like, you guys did it. And you did it. We have no evidence. They lied in court. It was horrible. It's
and
literally,
they went to jail.
Yeah, and they went to jail for 20 years.
It was
18.
A long time.
It was almost 2 decades.
Yeah.
They just got out a few years ago, but so the cops fucked up big time and they knew it, but the cops or the judge or whoever was basically like, so there were other people in prison who came out and said they did it, so they know the Fairbanks 4 didn't do it. The city of Fairbanks, the police, whoever, were like, they've kind of manipulated them. We're like, it'll take time to get you out, but like if you went out today, you just have to say you're not going to sue us. Like, easy. And they agreed because they wanted to get the fuck out of prison.
They've been in there forever, and who wouldn't?
But they had to agree not to sue. Well, a judge just overturned that.
Yes.
And they are allowed to sue the fucking shit out of the city of Fairbanks.
Oh.
Which, like, fuck yes. I love Fairbanks. It's my hometown. But, like, fuck yeah, get all the money you can get because they fucking deserve it.
Oh, they deserve millions. And when I heard they were going to get nothing, I was like, not fair.
I know.
Not fair.
But the ban, quote unquote, from suing the city and suing the cops has been lifted. So, I mean, even that alone is a big win.
I'm so happy for them.
Yes.
They deserve that.
If you haven't listened to that episode, it is the one where I get the craziest, and I'm like,
Caitlin is very fired up.
I actually was worried I sounded too angry because it makes me so mad.
No,
it's
good. It's good to be angry about those things.
So that's my good news for this. Do you have a good story?
I mean, it's not good, but it'll make y'all laugh.
Okay.
So today, I felt like you know how you can feel sometimes when an eyelash is falling out and like getting in your eye? Mm-hmm. And so I felt that an eyelash had fallen out and was going to get in my eye, and so I reached in to pinch around my eyelashes, you know, to pull it out so it didn't get stuck in my eye. I pinched it, I pulled out, and I looked, and it was a spider.
Oh, no! That doesn't make me laugh. That's disgusting. There was a spider in your eye?
Yes. Help, send help, please.
Ew, don't tell me stories like that. I
have to tell someone. I'm traumatized.
Okay, but now next time I feel something in my eye, I'm going to freak out and think it's a spider.
It was a green spider.
Ah, stop it. Do you have a joke?
Yes.
Redeem yourself with a joke.
Okay, well, what sound does a witch's car make?
Broom, broom.
Yeah.
I've never heard that, but I...
Yeah, isn't that cute? Broom, broom.
Okay, I'm going to tell an Ireland joke because we're talked about going there. I am sick of all these Irish stereotypes. As soon as I finish this drink, I'm punching someone.
That's cute.
Well, I guess that's all, folks. Thanks for being a part of our therapy session. Mm-hmm. Thank you for listening.
If you listened to the last episode, we did a call for acts of kindness. Unfortunately, we are recording this before that episode is released, so if you've done them, thank you.
I forgot.
And we'll hear about those soon. Is there any house cleaning?
No, we're perfect.
Okay. Well, I think that's it then. Thank you to everyone who's left us a review recently. That's really helped, except the one of the...
All we can do is laugh. We did get our first bad review, but, you know...
It's gonna happen.
Get out of my head.
I will not.
But please don't be mean just to be mean. She was kind of mean just to be mean.
Yeah, I absolutely understand if you're like, the sound quality's bad. I'm like, true, I don't know that much and I'm trying.
Or it's just not for you.
Totally get that.
Just say that.
Yeah,
we're humans.
She kind of made fun of us and we felt a little bit.
She said she said this was torture on her ears. Which stings a little bit, but you know what? If you're out there and you're listening and you're giving us another chance, let us know if you would like a sticker.
We'll send you
I might sneeze on it before I send. I'm just kidding.
We should send her.
I'm not an avocado. I can't make everybody happy.
You make me happy. You're the guacamole of my life. Isn't that nice?
You're the sun chip of my life. We go together according to Evan.
Together we do unique things.
2 peas in a podcast.
That's
but
us.
Seriously, thank you to everyone who listens.
Yeah, seriously.
As I said in an Instagram story yesterday, I thought we'd maybe have 30 listeners by now. But there's so many of you.
Hundreds upon thousands. So
if you're on our Patreon, if you're not on our Patreon, we just
love you all.
Thank you to everyone. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Bye, Illuminati.
Bye, kids.
I said the opposite, sorry.